want to open this conversation up before I even get into the couple of questions I've got about that video. I want to touch base with a couple of our youth participants today. AJ, first, just don't mean to put you on the spot. What's your overall, what did you think about the video? How'd you like it or not like it? What'd you think?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a like for that. Definitely impactful video. There's a lot of things I can take from that, notable things to keep me going.
Keep you going. What about you, Mustafa?
I really took one part out of it, and when he talked about the cop telling him that he's gonna end up in jail, he didn't take an answer as a no. He didn't let people stick a finger in their face and say, "You can't have that dream. You can't have that goal." He didn't let others affect him.
Yeah.
He was willing to go above and beyond for his own dreams and goals, and didn't let others stop him.
You and I have that. I'm sorry, Mustafa. Go ahead.
I said that's just really motivating. I do apologize.
No, it was you and I have that in common. I was motivated by that as well. But that segment, perfect, Mustafa, because that leads me right into the first question I want to ask. Was it just me? Everybody took a look at that. When he told the story and then he went back to the cop, the part of that didn't really resonate with me was when the cop told him, "I didn't mean what I said to you. I just told you that to see if it would break you." I didn't believe that. And there have been people in my own life that have been incredibly negative and incredibly destructive in what they try to say and do. And then after the fact, once you succeed, everybody wants to be a part of that. So the people that supported you, they should be rallying and cheering behind you. But the people who were critical will often come up with something like that. "Oh, I really didn't mean that. I was saying it to motivate you." Inky said, the cop was saying it to see if you were strong enough to push through. Did that piece not ring true with anybody else, or am I alone on that? I'm curious.
There's always the naysayers, and they always want to look good in front of others. But I believe that it didn't make sense. I mean, saying no to someone's dream and hopes doesn't mean you're going to motivate them to make that dream.
Yeah.
Believing in them, that helps them. Believing that they could do it, and that they what they're willing to do and go through to achieve their goals. That's just having hopes in them. That's supporting them. But saying otherwise and putting a finger in their face and say, "You can't do this. You can't have this." That's just not helpful.
I want to hear from everybody else. Just yesterday, we did a Brother Be Well podcast on the opioid epidemic among youth. And in the middle of the podcast, I made a comment about what we all need to do, everything that we can do so that we can eradicate this epidemic, so that future generations, I mentioned that we've been talking about opioids for 2 generations. We had a first lady of the United States who said, "Just say no." That was her answer to the opioid epidemic. So we've been talking about it a long time. And I was trying to get the youth to help us figure out what we needed to do. And then someone said, "Well, Michael, that's too lofty a goal. We're never going to be able to do that." And I said, when people say to me, never, that just means not now. When you say no to me, I translate that as not right now. So I just really want to, let's just touch base with everybody else. Does anybody else think that particular part of that video, when he said it, I was really into everything but that. But when I heard the cop, "Oh yeah, right. Now that he's successful, you just said it to see if he could push his way through." I think we've all got to be very careful of, you mentioned, AJ, the naysayers. There's always somebody, or I think it was you, Mustafa, there's always somebody who's going to tell you can't do what you want to do. You can't have that dream. You can't get that degree. You'll never drive that car. You'll never be able to buy a house. There's always somebody there. And from my advice, from my experience, there's always somebody who's going to come in after the fact and say, "Patrick Ma, I knew that you would learn to speak English, and I knew that you would become a clinician, and I always knew that you would do that." So just be careful of those people. How about everybody else? Andre, what did you think about the video? And you, Isaiah, what did y'all think about it?
About that particular part, or just the video?
That particular part, because I got a couple other questions about it I want to ask. Just that particular part.
That particular part, after hearing it, and then after hearing your comment, I had 2 thoughts about it. To me, yes, it was a negative way. In fact, I'll put them all in one thought. It was a negative way, if you meant well, to say that was your intentions, because you don't know the delicacy of the person you're talking to. someone else could have took that a whole different way and went the total opposite way and did start doing bad things.
Yeah.
So even if he had good intentions, I don't think that's how you would, convey your good intentions.
Yeah.
And if that was your intentions, did you check up on me?
And I'm trying not to be too hard on him. He was a police officer. He wasn't a mental health clinician. So maybe it's my brother be well capped that's making me say that was not the way to motivate somebody. Isaiah, what are your thoughts on that? Isaiah Matthews.
Yeah, no, I think, we talked in our last video about community and the importance of community, being around those who will support you and push you to, get through and go on to greater things. And as a mentor, that's, something that's always in the forefront of my mind. And on the one hand, I get, the tough love side. I think all of us or many of us growing up in as people of color in our community, sometimes that's a little more prevalent, right? I come from a sports background, so that's been a common thing for me, and it helps to motivate me sometimes. But there has to be the support on the other end of it too. There has to be the check-ins. There has to be, hey, I'm just, coming to see if I was right or if you're doing the right thing. Even that type of check-in with that, kind of tough love mentality can help somebody. It just depends on the type of person. But I think for that, like you said, it could have, or like Andre said, it could have gone the complete opposite direction. And the guy could have said, well, this police officer, someone I may or may not look up to, doesn't think I'm going to do it and thinks I'm going to end up at the same as my uncles or my dad or whoever.
Yeah.
So I might as well just, start now. So to find out.
And it also kind of struck me, and then I want to ask you, Patrick, your thoughts on that. It struck me that the police officer started out really well when he said, how did you do it? I was really encouraged by that because he had said, every kid I ever, blah, blah, blah. How did you do it? I was encouraged by that. But then to say, I really didn't mean it. I was saying it to motivate you. I just went, yeah, whatever. Patrick, what are your thoughts about that? Patrick, just for those of you who don't know, Patrick has a story of resilience and perseverance. It was no surprise to me that he was on the agenda for tonight because he is a walking, talking prevailer. I think that's the word. He prevails. He pushes through. He's resilient. So, Patrick, I'm curious about you. What do you think about that particular part of that video? What were your thoughts there?
I would say that cop is full of it. Like you said, there are many people who just want to take credit especially when credit is not due. I have a professor in my program at UC Davis actually who told me that I would never be able to pass the program, let alone doing dermatology. He said, if you want to do anything, stick to primary care because you are too slow. And, today I am one of the only PA in the UC Davis dermatology department, the first to obtain fellowship, and I graduated top of my class. So there will be definitely people who talk to you like that. And, I like Isaiah, comments about tough love and checked in. Yes, I grew up with tough love. I'm Vietnamese. That's the definition of Tiger Mom and what they provide for you. And many of us can relate. But, there has to be that check-in, like Isaiah would mention. But also, I appreciate when someone is realistic with me. I don't believe in unicorn and rainbow. Of course you can. I believe in you. You can do anything you want. I don't like that either because there's two extremes. There's one extreme where you can do anything you want. And then the other extreme is you can do anything at all. I like the middle ground. I want someone who telling me, like Michael mentioned, never, but say not right now. I have a professor and as counselor who told me not right now because you are not possessing these qualities yet. So, and these are the plans. How can you get to those qualities or how you can possess those qualities? And this is what I'm going to do for you. And this is what you need to do. You need to hold the person accountable for their future, for their success. But by the same token, be realistic with them about what they have and what they don't have. And that's how you're going to be successful. However, I heard Michael shut me down so quickly earlier. I have to come back with a rebuttal.
Come on. I'm about to shut you down about you saying you don't like rainbows and unicorns, by the way.
Perseverance fatigue is a thing. For someone like me who's an immigrant, who's gay, who didn't speak English, who come from low socioeconomic status, being persevered, be able to persevere is exhausting when you have to constantly fight for every single thing you have. Yes, you have to persevere as a person of color. Unfortunately, for many of us, that's just a fact. However, the reason why I brought up perseverance fatigue was because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot go on if there's nothing to go on with. So my point of bring up persevering fatigue is you need to take care of yourself. There's have been many instances in my program where I just want to give up altogether. Like, my dad wasn't a physician. I have no money. I have so much student loans. I don't think I can do this. This is too exhausting. I don't have the support I need. And, just for a moment, stop, pause, tap into the resources that you have, take care of yourself, overcome that perseverance fatigue. Then you can continue to persevere. That's the point of persevering fatigue.
And let me just clarify, Patrick. I never said it wasn't a thing. I said it shouldn't be a thing in the first 3 seconds of a perseverance video. That's where I was going. Let's not talk about fatigue until we talk about perseverance. So that's all I was trying to get. It's absolutely a thing. I think, all kidding aside, I think any person of color would acknowledge we're all tired of persevering all the time. And it's a way of life. We have to do it. Men of color, especially, I'm not dissing our sisters, but men of color get hit with it constantly every day. And that's what sessions like this are all about. Let me get to the second question. I hope we have time for that second video because I'd like to show it to you. What do you think about Inky's quote, a person starts to live when they encounter death? That kind of struck me. That you start to live when you reach the moment where you realize you could lose your life. And I've been in that position probably twice, maybe 3 times. And it was certainly transformative looking back. It's a scary place to be when you think your life is about to end. But if you can persevere through that, you definitely come out on the other side stronger. So I want to open that up, especially for our youth. You guys are so young, you may not have run into something like that yet. But then young people today deal with things that I never had to deal with when I was that young. So Mustafa, what's your first thought about that? You start to live when you encounter death. What's your initial thought about that?
Well, I never encountered death, so I wouldn't know the answer to that per se. But I think what he's trying to say is there's nothing to lose when you come to a point of realization. Is there's nothing to lose but to go up. You just hit rock bottom. It's a good foundation, and now you could build up from it.
Yeah.
You always it gives you an opportunity to look back and say, I am stronger. I survived this. I could definitely go through this. I could if I made it through this, I could definitely be able to do simple things and be able to move on. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's your take on it, AJ?
Believe it or not, I just thought about this these past couple of days for some reason. So of course we all know the statement, you only live once, and that's a really good concept to live by. But I ran into one just 2 days ago, and it's you only die once, but you live every day. And I thought about this and I was like, yeah, but you only live once, which is supposed to push you. But this second quote is to push you day by day to show you that you can live at any moment, at any time, and you should live because, you die once. You don't want to die, of course. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, maybe this is why I like action sports. And by action sports, I mean skateboarding, snowboarding, skydiving, and such, because those are sports that are considered very dangerous, and you can be close to death at those times. But that's the time I feel most alive. So that's what I took out of that.
When you say you like those sports, I like watching them too. But you do them? You skydive?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, really, Patrick. That's impressive because that's one of those things I've always thought about doing. And when every decade has turned around, like when I turned 20, when I turned 30, when I turned 40, I was like, on that day, I'm gonna skydive. And then when I get close to it, I'm like, I'm not getting in that plane and jumping out. So hats off to you, man, for doing that.